We had the cane at our school. The headmaster was a bit short-sighted, so some of the boys used to put a book down the back of their trousers. I went one step further. I used to put a small public library down the back of mine. It was a little red brick building. Old people used to come in to read the papers. Well, it was warm, you know. But I was strict with them. They weren't allowed to smoke. And at 5:30, they had to get out. One day I got 6 of the best and it smashed up the reference section. I had to lay off 4 staff. In 1687, Sir Isaac Newton discovered that apples fell out of trees. And they gave him a knighthood for that. I wouldn't have minded living in them days. Pretty damn easy to get a knighthood, I would have thought. Just go up to Charles II and say, beer makes you drunk. Could I have a knighthood, please? Oh, and my mate Gary's discovered that sheep can't roller skate. Can he have one as well? What did people do before Isaac Newton discovered that apples fell out of trees? How do they make apple pies? Did they climb up the tree with some pastry crust and half a bucket of custard? Edge along the branch trying to peel the apple? You come home from school, your mother says you better eat that pudding. I nearly broke my neck making that. I've been an hour waiting for my x-rays.
Have you? I think they're still looking at mine.
It's a shambles. What's wrong with you, then?
I think I've got a stomach ulcer.
Oh, yeah. You know the best cure for that, don't you?
No.
Radiation therapy.
They haven't mentioned that.
No, they wouldn't. It's too expensive. That's why they'll try and fob you off with a load of pills.
Oh. They have started me on these.
You ought to get yourself up to Sellafield. There's more than enough radiation there. Just stick your stomach against the main gate, you'll soon be all right.
I think I'll stick with the tablets for the time being.
Please yourself. You'll be dead in a week.
So, you're waiting for x-rays then, are you?
Yes, I'm quite an unusual case. They've had to x-ray my hair. It's got completely out of control. It's got a life of its own. I found it making an omelette in the kitchen last night. Has that ever happened to you?
No.
That's not the half of it. They went missing for 3 weeks.
Where did it go?
It was delivering parcels in the centre of London. I saw it driving a van down Oxford Street. Makes you feel stupid when your own hair gets a part-time job. And the doctors, they don't know anything. They're useless.
I don't know. Dr. Gillespie seems to be very good.
I broke my leg last year. I come in here, some junior doctor wanted to make a plaster cast. I says, don't be stupid, you'd want a statue of my leg. Mind you, some of the stuff they put in the art galleries these days. I went into an art gallery the other day. The place was full of office equipment. Papers, pens, typewriters, desk diaries. I don't call that art. What sort of exhibition is that?
Well, perhaps it's some kind of statement about communication in the late 20th century. Which gallery was it? W.H.
Smith's in the High Street. They must think we're mugs.
We've just had the results of your x-rays, and it's quite obvious there's nothing wrong with you. This is the 9th time you've been to this hospital with some ridiculous, non-existent illness. Quite frankly, Mr. Bassett, you've been wasting our time.
No, I'm Mr. Bassett.
No, Mr. Bassett. Well, don't let me see you in this hospital again.
Yes, Doctor.
Now, Mr. Thompson, about your hair. We think we know why it's been driving a delivery van.
Oh, good. I was worried, because it's me who's got to pay the parking tickets, you see. Ladies and gentlemen, I, the great Pimento, will now attempt the impossible. I challenge these chains and shackles to bind me, the great Pimento.
And so, we pay our last respects to our brother, the great Pimento.
Look at this. It says here, more people die in hospitals than in snack bars. Makes you think, doesn't it? I know where I'm going when I get a heart attack. Spud do you like? No point in taking chances. I was walking down the street the other day. Suddenly this bloke pulls a knife on me. Now, in a situation like this, you should surprise your attacker. So I started to beat myself up. One punch to the stomach took me totally by surprise. I don't know my own strength. And you still get these adverts in the paper. Charles Atlas says you too can have a body like mine. They buried him in 1968. And who wants a body like that? I get the women interested, wouldn't it? All decomposed, bits falling off. Go down a disco, do that, and your arms float off. And you get a questionnaire to answer. Are you a 7-stone weakling? Do toddlers kick sand in your face? When you meet a woman, do your underpants fill up? If the answer is yes to all these questions, ask a friend to help you tear off the coupon at the bottom of this page. And you get these historical dramas set around the turn of the century. And one character says to another, I heard a young man make a remarkable speech in the House of Commons. I wouldn't be surprised if he became Prime Minister one day. And his name is Winston Churchill. And you're meant to think, what an incredible prediction. I think it'd be more amazing if he said, I've just met a young chap called Churchill. Mark my words, one day he'll be a fat, bald alcoholic. But I think the unluckiest man who ever lived was my uncle. Just before the end of the Second World War, he decided to book a fortnight's holiday in Hiroshima. He checked into his hotel room 2 hours before the bomb, new suit. He went over the road for a paper and got run down by a bus.
You see, Sheridan, you've given us something of a problem.
How many times do we have to go through this, Maynard?
You were one of our top agents. Then one day you disappear behind the Iron Curtain. 3 months later, you turn up with some story about being kidnapped by the KGB. Now, what Control wants to know is, whose side are you on?
Look.
Tell me again what happened in Munich.
I met my contact in the hotel lobby. He gave me the microfilm, I gave him 30,000 Deutschmarks.
And what happened then?
I took the microfilm and left it in my hotel room. I then booked a flight for Prague. Well, Tim Maynard makes a mistake.
Listen, Sheridan.
You never were too good at the technical side of things, were you, Maynard?
You mean?
Remember the time you bugged the telephones in the Romanian embassy? And you used the same frequency as the local radio station?
Well, what about it?
Every time the ambassador picked up the phone, he heard somebody say, hello, Brian, I'm a first-time caller.
Yes,
but one week he had to read out the football results.
All right, that's enough. We've opened up a yellow file on you, Sheridan.
A yellow file?
Yes. Perhaps this is more serious than you imagine. Let's talk about your bank account, shall we?
I've got nothing to hide.
Before you disappeared, we discovered that somebody was making regular monthly payments of £1,200 directly into your account. We also discovered that you were withdrawing this money in small amounts every few days. Who was paying you, Sheridan?
You were. That was my salary.
£1,200 a month?
Yes.
That's more than I get.
I was on special duties.
What special duties?
Controller suspected for some time that one of our top people with full access to highly sensitive material was in fact an idiot.
Idiot? That's impossible.
Is it? I wasn't captured by the KGB. I've been working undercover for the past 3 months, and I've been following you.
Well, surely you don't suspect me of being the idiot?
Let's look at this last week. On Monday, on your way to work, you got on the wrong bus and had to go back home again. On Tuesday, you lost the keys to your office. On Wednesday, you found the keys to your office, but you couldn't find your office. And on Thursday, you stuffed a teddy bear full of jam and squashed it inside a library book. We're still not quite sure why you did that.
This is all very well, but you can't prove anything.
Can't I? This interrogation is supposed to be tape recorded, but you made a complete mess of it, haven't you, Maynard?
That was just a bluff, Sheridan. A bluff to get you talking. At this very moment, downstairs in the basement, 2 of my men are recording every word we say. Does that sound like the actions of an idiot to you?
Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 3, Nottingham Forest 3, Leeds United 2. Now, Glenn Miller with In the Mood.
During the Blitz and the Second World War, my dad used to say, don't worry about the bombs. The only bombs you've got to worry about are the ones that have got your names written on them. That scared the next door neighbours, Mr. and Mrs. Doodlebug.